Hello everyone, we are on our weekly writers meeting with the Rav Dr. Michael Laitman and the Kabbalah reporters and content personnel. Hello everyone, and we would like to continue asking about the coronavirus and also to deal with different questions that come from our viewers, and we would like to start with the strategy of coming out of the crisis. Many talk about going back to routine after the holidays. There's already a very clear plan, program, step by step, 4 phases through which through which everything will go back to normal. And there's a feeling that at the end of the holidays, the corona will disappear from our lives and gradually we'll start going back to our life and routine. How do you see this? Is this reality or a false hope? I don't look at things the way other people do, but the wisdom of Kabbalah teaches that it teaches us how to relate to the coronavirus in a goal-oriented fashion, that everything comes from above, from the higher force, which is nature, global nature, which is superior to everyone, and we're inside of it, inside this sphere of nature. You can call it God if you will, but it is the one unique and unified force for all. And this force has a plan, and according to this plan, now he is pushing us toward our connection and toward adjustment, toward becoming like him, what we call equivalence of form. And therefore, Kabbalists look at it in a purposeful manner, and that this goal has to be realized in the near future. Even though that our time is called the last generation, the time of the generation of the Messiah, and so on, meaning that we are in stages of the last intensive correction of human nature that has to rise to the degree of equivalence of form with the general force of nature, meaning in order to come to that, we need to connect between us, to become global and integral, like that one force, upper force. And therefore, I look at the coronavirus as upon natural phenomena by which nature controls us, pushing us toward connection and toward uniting with it. And therefore, it doesn't seem to me that it'll simply go by. It's impossible. Everything that happened throughout human history added and advanced us. I don't think that this time our advancement will be in just shifting back to our normal life the way it used to be, and that we will heal ourselves from those blows, social, economical problems, and so on and so forth, that we have experienced in the past 1 or 2 months, where this virus had the most impact over us. I think that we have to understand that we're advancing towards something much greater. First of all, it's the very first time that we have received a blow as a mankind all around the world. This is one thing. Another thing is that We received it in a special way. It disconnected us from our work, our businesses, engagements. It's something really essential. It's not just quantity that our production or GDP or even the world GDP fell by 10 or 20%. No, there is a different essence here. I don't think that we can go back to the same state the way things were. It's a big mess. I do not think we will succeed in doing that because nature is demanding us to reach a new form. And people still don't understand that. And because, according to the plan of nature, there is a plan of bringing us integrally, and mankind still doesn't understand this, then this blow can't just go by and we'll go back to how things were and say that it'll take us a year or two to repair this collapse and everything is going to be fine. I don't think so. The way things used to be, it wasn't fine either. Things weren't okay. We're thinking about what's going to happen, maybe even a world war. And we have to see, how are we supposed to advance to a good state? Because we see how much we are going back to, how much we're reaching a state where we're destroying nature. Nature disagrees with that. Look how joyously nature is returning to those places that we left because of the virus. Wolves are coming back to parks in the middle of the city. Whales are swimming next to our beaches in different places. Birds, I hear birds from my room. I never heard birds from my room. I didn't think that this is an area where there are birds or animals. Nature is really thirsty to get back to connection, unity, not even mentioning the weather that has to be balanced. We're all a part of nature. We're all in all a result of nature. And nature in Hebrew, teva, in Gematria equals Elohim, creator. It's one and the same, the upper force. And therefore, I think, and besides, I have also other sources of mine and plans of my own, from which I feel that we can't go back, that the blow that we have received from the virus is as if one-time blow that is passing now, and that we can really go back to how things were. No. I think that we can try to go back, but in a kind of framework where we keep balance, that we're not going back in order to go back into nature and keep corrupting it. And I think that there are further blows ahead, that from this virus we did not receive all the necessary phenomena, but it's simply our first contact with the virus. If we do not tighten ourselves, make something more round out of ourselves that is more fit for, or that better suits the global integral nature, then this virus will go through some kind of modification, and from it we will get the next blow. And this is how there are going to be more and more such blows. This is what I think. And therefore, I'm not that happy that everyone's already talking about everything coming to an end and so on. It seems to me that it'll take at least another half a year until, or 3 or 4 months at least, until we will see what is going on with us. I don't think that we can simply so easily go back. Even children, I think that this virus will also, God forbid, touch them, but will touch them, and once they go back to the same relationships at school, then we will feel it on their health too, God forbid. And so on and so forth. It seems to me that as hard as it is, and it's even hard for me that I'm used to sitting in my room all day long, but it's hard. And I understand this, how it is for active people that used to run around all the time and work. But it seems to me that we have no choice, and that gradually, gently, we have to see what goes on, what happens if we go back to our engagements, and what happens when we go back to our engagements. Meaning, can we go back in peace? That really, this entire process that of our going back will be to the benefit of nature. If we don't do this, if we don't take into account the global nature, that we add our reentrance into nature, into its global picture of global connected, interconnected picture, we needn't go back. We mustn't go back. We gradually have to see how can we go back into this general picture of nature. If not, on the way we will meet many other viruses. You're saying that the corona is only the first phase. Can you point at the second phase more clearly, warn us, prepare us for it? What's the next step required of humanity? The next step required of us is to understand how are we supposed to be with the general comprehensive nature, that actually we're not taking into consideration the integrality, the generality of nature, and therefore we bring the biggest harm. All the other degrees, the still, vegetative, and animate, they participate in nature instinctively. And there's no problem there. But only we are doing all of these problems, and therefore all of nature is against us. And we can experience very strong blows. Let's say that it's the first time that we have seen how globally nature is against humanity in a completely general, comprehensive way that you simply can't describe. No one imagined such a response. No one. And therefore we should think, what can happen? There can come a stronger blow. And I don't even want to get into that. Do you feel an inner change in people up until now? I feel that they are now capable of hearing, listening, that they sit at home and are really yearning to go back to work, different events, to enliven themselves a bit, because sitting at home, they feel dead. So I can't tell them anything besides feeling a lack in explanation in relation to the general public, toward the entire world. Now it is our problem, the people that understand the situation the world's in, the state that the world has to come to, and we're not yelling from dusk till dawn in every possible way that we have to be integrally connected, and then nature will accept us as an integral part of its own. Otherwise, it won't. Otherwise, nature is against us. It's throwing us. It's really pushing us out of its general integral picture as the only harmful part. How are we harmful? We're harmful in everything. And everything that we do, we're doing it out of our will to receive. That only man has the desire to receive in order to receive. And the more advanced we are in technology, in our ability to use natural resources and everything that we take out of nature, all the different machines that we build, the raw materials that we use and take from nature, everything that is so opposed to nature. By this, we destroy nature, and eventually nature responds to us according to its law that things have to be integral. What will happen if we will try to gradually go back to routine after Passover? Is it possible? Will it take its toll? People can't stay at home either because the economy is about to fall apart too. We're stuck. We're not stuck. Let the economy fall apart. Humanity simply has to understand what is the right way for it to use nature, not to exploit nature, but to use nature. Humanity has to learn how to do this. Here we have a problem. I'm really starting to feel that it is a problem of Bnei Baruch and maybe all the other people that are not related to us, but first and foremost, it is our organization that knows how things are supposed to be, knows what we're supposed to pass on to humanity, and still not taking care of it as much as we can. There's kind of a weakness, a problem. Another day and another day, we're flowing with the virus. We're not fighting to explain what is its nature, what is the direction of its work, what kind of work is it doing on mankind. I don't see that from day to day we are publicizing the plan of creation to the entire world, and the entire world understands and feels and accepts it, unites with it. I don't feel it this way. I don't know what other means can we use. Maybe I don't know what to do. We need more, I don't know in what way, to translate to other languages what you write. I don't know what else to do. What's missing? Quantity? Quantity too. Because here we have a problem in relation to the quantity of people, for them to publicize this on the different media, through the different internet branches. Without that, we will not succeed. We'll make it so that people will forcefully start bring themselves back to normal life, and what will happen? There will come a very strong blow. I understand that the agricultural people will go back to work. In short, all those that are related to food, and also not in an excessive way. We have to go back to work, and nature will not resist that. What man has to have, man's basic needs, this is something that nature will not resist. But we have to understand, what does it mean, basic needs? That we make sure that we don't break the balance in nature, that we will do it with an understanding, that we do it with nature, mutually keeping each other. We have to teach people, we have to give them a feeling of how to relate to that. Otherwise, germs and viruses will come in such a way that, God help us. Our pages on the internet now have very good ratings. Since the corona, many more people read, listen, and also respond. In relation to the quality, there's a question. How can we show people that the reason is the relations between us? So start explaining this in the form of a system, that is, if you are scientists, that you are people that know what is the inner system, integral system of nature, how everyone is interconnected. You don't have to use different words from religion or from the wisdom of Kabbalah that you're identified with in one way or another. You have to talk only about the integral form of nature. We're breaching the balance, It's like when children are on a swing. There's the matter of using a swing, but not in the way that you're sitting by yourself on the one side or that you completely breach the balance, and this is what we do. It has to be balanced. And we go into nature and we have to keep this balance in advance. What are we thinking about when we're burning 1 million tons of oil? When we're, making a hole in the ozone layer? Are we thinking about this in advance, that we're not creating some kind of a blow? Because instead of that blow, will come to us a blow like that virus. How will we give them such examples and to bring them proof that if we push nature out of balance, then nature pushes us out of balance. And to push us out of balance is very simple. Nature can do many things, Suddenly, every place where you have water, in the water there are such germs that you can't use the water. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? In a day or two, you die. God forbid, that's it. There's nothing you can do. Same with the air. Now, in the air, in a distance of 2 meters, you have coronavirus. But things can be different. That there will be a virus in the air altogether. What are you going to do? Everyone's going to walk around with masks, gas masks. I'm telling you, we have no idea where we are. We're dependent on everything around us, and we're destroying it. We have to explain this in 1,000 different ways, that people will simply understand that it is not just a global integral cry like Everyone's, crying about ecology, like Greta and others. We're not talking about the sun or where the birds or, the blue skies. Where are they? No, we're talking about our life, that we can die in a moment. In a moment. And if not in a moment, then gradually, in 2 years, like from the coronavirus, you have to explain this in a more explicit way. And along with it, what do we need? All the ecologists, they can't explain. They're only saying we have to stop, we have to stop. We're not talking about stopping this way, about not to use these different things. To decrease, of course, the way we simply use nature. But we're talking about connection between people, that this is the main thing. And here we have to nonetheless explain that the connection between people is what brings us to be integral with nature, mutually connected. And the connection between people will also teach us how to relate to nature correctly in every way, in every case. Because this is something that we don't understand. We don't understand. What does it mean that I relate correctly to everything? How can I know? So that we will start treating each other favorably on the upper level, on the higher level of humanity, then from that we will also understand, learn how to relate to nature correctly and everything else. We'll have the mind to understand this, the emotion out of developing this kind of attitude toward people. Then this is the kind of attitude that I will have toward people. Kind of attitude of love toward nature and to protect it. And this is the attitude of empathy and kindness and everything. This is what they use on the net. This is exactly what you said. This is what they say on the net. I don't know what they said, but I don't read what they say, but please go in there and say what you have to say. Should we warn humanity, if you do not connect, things will be like this and like that, or just talk about this positively, that you have to connect? No, if people won't connect, God forbid. We can't imagine what blows there are along the way. Like Baal Sulam writes, that even one person that comes and reaches the purpose of creation, he does this work for all of humanity. That in the meantime was destroyed, burned, and so on. And if one person left from all of humanity does this, it means that humanity has reached its goal. Even one person. Rav, going back to routine according to the laws of nature, what is it like? If we want to offer a plan of going back to our normal life, how can we add something that will help this process? Ideally, it's only according to our understanding, according to the way we do things. Suppose here with nature, and nature is light, the upper light. And you have to be connected with the entire system of humanity and with all of nature, the still, the vegetative, and the animate, in order to receive this fulfillment correctly. You understand how much you really need to turn to nature seriously. And not that tomorrow we begin, and no, it won't help us to go back to things that way. Things will be very bad. It's like you moved from one grade to the next. Now I have new conditions. You can't behave the way you did in your previous grade. You can't do things like you used to. And this is a big problem, and we have to get used to this. We have to get used to this, like going back. It's like going to the next grade in school, that there are bigger demands, a more serious attitude. Otherwise, we're breaking the conditions that nature is setting for us, and we're in danger. So, if we're talking about external conditions, then the government sets different conditions for how to go back to normal, and we are only dealing with education. What do we have to do? Suppose. But even though that what the government will do, it's a problem. But we're not getting into that. Let's leave it to providence, for the Creator to control and manage this. Shelley. At the beginning of the talk, I heard that the corona is supposed to bring people closer to connection. And I think that this is what distinguishes us from all the eco-explanations or the ecologists. Can you explain how is the corona bringing us closer to connection? What impression will be left in us after all this goes by? Because right now the impression is to be careful of other people, to move away from them. This is the first stage of connection, that I have to be to keep myself from the previous connection we had. What is the exodus from Egypt? That we disconnect ourselves from the kind of connection that we had before. We don't want to keep living the way that we used to. And now that we are crossing the Red Sea, we need to start to behave differently, like those that are coming out of Egypt. It is a generation that's coming out of Egypt, that we come out of all of our egoistic relations that we had before. You can even tell about it in the form of a story. And we would like to come out into a new, different kind of connection, where we are free. What does it mean to be free? That we want to relate each other in a good and nice way, where we have received this world in order to really make a different world out of it, the upper world, and not that soon. We're finishing off this planet, killing it, and it in return is killing us, and this will bring everything to an end. And who enjoys it? That we, all of humanity, that's so wise and enlightened, what do we say? Let's eat and drink, for tomorrow we die. So what is humanity supposed to tell itself? As if the connection between us, what's missing is the connection between destroying our planet and us, and the need for us to be connected. Okay, we'll exploit the planet less, but what does it have to do with being good or nice to each other? We have to re-examine all of our engagements, all of our businesses, first of all between us, between people, and then between people and the vegetative and animate, the surrounding nature. We have to bring this entire system of the still, vegetative, and animate into an integral form, in an integral way. Integrality is something very big and very special, complex, complicated, that we have to attain. In this integrality, we discover the inner force of nature. That is the only force. You can call it creator, or it doesn't matter how you call it, but out of which nature begins. And it controls nature according to its formula, and it just gave people freedom on our little planet of how to manage themselves, control themselves, so that along the way, through understanding or through suffering, to bring themselves to unity. Therefore, we need to explain this. I don't know, I have so many words, but I'm all the time repeating myself, so ask. Many people are watching us now, and there's a feeling that we're doing a lot in relation to dissemination, and you're saying that we're lagging behind. How can we reach the public? That reaching the public depends on the connection between us, or searching for other platforms. I don't know. I don't understand in relation to the technologies, platforms. What do I understand about technology? You have to go into different systems as much as possible. You have to write under new names with new words, with how to say, fresh explanation, something new that people aren't familiar with, for them to. The question is not in relation to that, but in relation to the ratio between our interconnection and dissemination. What's the correct ratio, the precise remedy? That we know the future. This is what is unique about us. And knowing the future comes from knowing the reason. Meaning the starting point of creation and the ending point of creation, these 2 points we know them and feel connected to them, and the entire process that humanity has to go through, from the first to the last point, we go through, we understand, we experience, and we try and tell this to everyone and explain it to everyone, and therefore we're warning each other. And we don't want to be like naughty, but we simply don't want more blows, problems, troubles. We want families, children, for everything to fall into place. And that on each and every step, we will not get a blow and correct it, but we'll go from good to better and better and better. This is something that we have to understand. And besides, it's enough for us to determine enough that we're determining what the laws of nature are. We're inside these laws, under them. Look what the coronavirus did to us. Enough with us trying to determine the laws of nature. We have to try and scrutinize things coming from nature being a law that includes many sub-laws. And this is what we have to know. So now to determine that that's it. Starting Sunday, we are going back to how things were. Sunday, you're going back to business. Decided that we can go back. I'm not even talking about what's going on in the world, even in Israel. And tomorrow, 1 million people leave home and go to school, kindergartens, work, people, this, that, men, women, pregnant women. This is how it's going to be. Even that it's going to happen graduality. Are you determining these things? Laws that you make in the parliament. These are the laws of nature. You understand? This lack of responsibility is so... And everyone determines things the way they do. Why? Because they want rating. You understand? How egoistically we are operated in such crucial matters. Now we hear you saying things more clearly. What is your strategy to come out of the crisis practically? What does it mean? Tomorrow, after Passover, we have to go and buy food at the supermarket. What do? Fine. Let's examine who has to be there in order to provide us with what we need. If we'll go back to things because we have no choice, because these are the basic things that we need, then we'll see that nature will not resist this. Each and every step, we will take only the necessary means. Things that aren't praised are condemned to be in a mutuality with nature, to take from it what it gives. Then we will feel more than the cow wants to, more than the calf wants to eat, the cow wants to eat. And then we will receive a blessing. Things will be sufficient for everyone. So let's do it in a way that we don't burn and throw away and do anything that's redundant. You need bread, please. Milk, please. Meat, please, no problem. But let's decide about everything that no more than that, even in terms of what we eat. Instead of today's supermarket, leave yesterday's mini market. You remember what a mini market is? This I actually remember very well. That's all you need. That's all you need. 1,000 different 1,000 different shops, clothes, shops for clothes, for close it all. Make it places for people to come together. By this, you're distancing yourself from nature's next blow. Yeah, you're exactly answering my question. If everyone does everything according to the laws of nature, but the question is, how can a person know exactly what is the correct measure in using nature? Everyone sees this egoistically. Well, it's very simple. It's very simple. There is the organization of Bnei Baruch here that has to explain to everyone, from the written media, electronic media, this, that. What does it mean to be connected with nature? To teach people so that they will feel, understand what they have to do in each and every action in order not to harm. Sit and do nothing better, first and foremost. Aviu. Just look at one thing. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, or you can see it in different groups, primitive groups, suppose that this is how it's called, in Africa and Asia, South America. How hard they have to work. And not for so long. They get from nature the different things that they need. And they have lots of time left for their different, especially social activities, that they sit and talk. It's really so. This is what we see from research. This is what we know from research. And in order to get food, they're not walking around with guns and stuff and things. What do I want to say? In nature, everything is ready. If we work correctly, we will be able to receive what we need. Basic needs. And then you won't have 2,000 different kinds of sweet and 2,000 kinds of whiskey and vodka and other stuff. Meaning we will see our life in a good, nice, calm way. We'll be able to sit, talk, do different things. We will feel through our connection that we are making a inner, upper spiritual creation. I think that there was a research that examined what part of the day do chimpanzees use in order to find food. So it's 15% of their time that they use for finding food, and the rest of the time they are in rest and strengthening the connection within their community. And today, how is a person really burns his time at work? How much of his time does he burn at work, taking from his sleep, from his family, from basic needs? Oleg Itzikson wants to ask, as a writer, I see two problems in delivering the message. First of all, I turn to ordinary people that feel really small now, that they have to sit at home and obey, whether it's correct or not. So, and I turn to them with a very high message, even though that it sounds rational, but they can't make any decisions, influence decisions, so it barely can coincide with what they feel. I come to a person and I tell him, in 2 weeks, if you continue the way that you do, that you're going now, a new virus will come down upon you. You have a few minutes to answer me now. What are you going to tell me? You have no choice. This is how things are going to be. In 2 weeks, you're going to get a new virus. What are you going to answer? On his part, there's no solution. He doesn't decide. He can't do much. Wait. He's asking me in return, what should I do? Give me advice. Give me advice. What should I do? I'm going crazy. I have a wife, children, grandparents, my parents, relatives, friends, our entire country, everyone. Tell me what to do. What? I'll throw myself off the balcony. What can I do? This is the situation that he's in. You put him to the wall. What are you going to answer him? Do you have something to tell him or not? If he will tell you, if this is what he'll tell you, will you know what to tell him? I have no answer for him. I have an answer for them, but not for him personally. No. You have to write personally. Stop writing like in the university or something or someplace. It doesn't work. You have to write for a person. And if he doesn't ask you, tell me, what should I do? I don't know. So you have to bring him to this kind of state, and then to know how to explain to him in a way that You take him and a hug, and with him you are going to solve the problem. No choice. This is the state that humanity is in. And you came here years ago in order to learn and use this. I have no other answer. Aviu, please. Dear Rav, first of all, part of us are mature enough to remember that there used to be a mini market and there were only two kinds of cheese there, and we're all fine. I don't think that it's about that. I think that the complicated matter is that the public sees no alternative to the previous life, that they can't understand what will they really get their, so to speak, fake pleasures they live off today from. Like you said, that they'll start receiving this pleasure from the connection. Maybe you can explain that a bit. Like Bala Sulam writes, first of all, we have no choice. Where does he write about it, Dudi? He writes that we have no choice. He says that there's no choice. So no choice, no question, no question. I was told that I can't eat matzah or something because I have diabetes. So no question, I don't eat it. And this is how it is with many other things. I was told that I have a problem with my teeth. So, sorry, I'm talking to you without teeth right now. What can I do? So, what's the question? Is there a different option or not? There is no other option. We have to live like those primitive tribes. 15%, like Chaim says, of the time, to be engaged in providing ourselves with our basic needs. All the rest, we have to invest in our connection, to go into the depth of creation, down to the Creator. They are deep, deep inside of nature. We all have to do it. Now imagine to yourself what viruses are there on the way in order to direct us toward that and to push us at that until we will reach Him. And like he writes, that He's sending us a remedy and not viruses and a blow. True, but this is an answer that comes from an approach in which we want to reach connection with the... Everyone today has a goal, purpose in life. Everyone has the same goal, to be saved from death, and because there's no choice, first of all, cursively, and later on willingly, to advance toward that same goal. Only dissemination. This is our problem. This is our work. Why did nature wait for so long as in acting only now, after humanity distanced itself so much from nature? It's the matter of recognition of evil that we don't yet really understand how opposite we are and how much we have to go back, if possible, to put it this way, to go back. That's really, the distance is practically infinite. There is an end. There is. By the way, I think that we'll do it very quickly. Only let us break our heart and mind as to how to pass it on to the world. This is our work. Let's think only about that. I'm talking about all of Bnei Baruch, about everyone who's listening, even if they don't belong to Bnei Baruch, but they identify with this. Let's think about this together. How do we heal the world? We have really entered the last generation. If you don't feel it, it's already a new kind of governance, different kind of governance. Now, from blow to blow, we will start discovering how nature is relating to us as the Creator, treating all of us as one. What does it mean to think how to heal, to care for it, like a doctor explains, like I was explained to that you can't have sugar, you can't have this, you can't have that, in 1,000 different ways, because I didn't think that it's so forbidden. What, besides water, you can't drink anything. I can't drink juices either. Besides meat, I can't eat neither potatoes nor other things. Can't eat bread. Different things like that, you understand? You can't have all these things. What's allowed? What is allowed is what you need in order to stay alive. What you don't need will kill you. So, balanced consumption, this is what we have to see all the time. Yes, and for us, balanced consumption is only through connection. Only. Natalie. Throughout the crisis, we see the value of mutual responsibility. Children also understand that they have to keep their distance from the grandparents in order to keep them healthy, and we have to. How do I, as a woman, keep this value in the day-to-day life? You have no choice but to educate everyone. Teach everyone. How? In your family? Through stories, through explanations, through different things. Maybe you'll write short booklets for this is for the grandparents, this for the grandchild, this for that, for everyone. We need new literature. Everything besides what Kabbalists wrote up until now, you can burn. And Rabash. Shelley. Going back to what Oleg started to ask previously, when you're talking about viruses, it's really frightening. So I'm asking now, we're turning to a simple person. So he'll consume less, he'll be... No. Dear Shelley, he has to understand why is he doing it. The Creator doesn't care if he eats something or doesn't eat it. If he kills a few animals for his own benefit or not. What the Creator cares about is the attitude. People are the highest level of nature, and what's important is their intention. Why are we doing this? And not what you do. So why do we have to do it? In order to heal the world? Or why are we doing it? No, I'm talking about ordinary people like that we're going to write for. For them to know in everything that they do, that they're doing this in order to reach balance with the world, to bring them closer to the upper world. And his intention and your intention are practically the same. And we can promise a person will make this effort, that will be saved. He'll be saved from the next virus, because if the government says go back to work, I'll go back to work. If everyone starts buying, I'll start buying. But if I make a special effort, I'll protect myself before the next virus, my children. I'm sure that this is how it would be to Bibi, Gantz, Minister of Health. That according to the wisdom of Kabbalah, We have to go back to work only in case that people get the guidance of how to balance out the world to a connection where it will be clear to everyone what Israel, the light and the creator, are one. And in simple words, if we write a letter now to the leaders, no, in simple words, I would write to them. I'm not saying that you have to write. I mean, an open letter supposed to leaders. No, it won't help. We can't write that. We have to keep on publicizing the way we do, only through broader and broader medias. But really, they can't hear it. That's why I'm not turning to them. I'm just making fun. But really, we have to turn to each and every person and to explain to him that the correction depends on that. And therefore, we are not to respect them and everything, but we're turning to the simple people because I dwell within my nation. In them or upon them depends the correction of the world, and therefore it's not a matter whether they'll tell you to go back or not to go back to work, but it's the matter of that those that go back to work, they know with what intention to go back to work, with what attitude. This is the problem. But you'll see that if you'll do this work, you will see how it will change everything. Suddenly the government will start determining that these and those businesses, there's no need for them. These and these businesses have to be directed in such and such a way, otherwise it harms nature, and so on.
Rav,
the message to an ordinary person on the street that hears the message that you have to reduce, restrict, keep the laws of nature, go back to a more basic life like in the past. When people hear this and they say, look, we don't want to go back to how things were in the Stone Age. It sounds like regression. I think that we are much worse off now than in the times of, let's say, not the Stone Age, but, well, suppose Stone Age. Okay, I think we're much worse off. We have a problem here. We have to explain to everyone that otherwise we'll die. Otherwise we'll die. Nature will not sustain us any longer. You see, we stopped going out of our houses just a bit, or, wolves are going back to parks in the middle of the city. Could anyone think that this could happen? Those blue whales are coming back to the shores. We have corrupted nature so badly, and nature is the general force that simply shows us how it's dying to go back to that, how much it has to go back to that due to the inner influence that exists in everything. We have to explain to everyone. Well, if not, then at least write about this. Let's do it this way. At least write, and for it to be clear to everyone that we wrote it, and then what can you do? If we'll go back to the same businesses, then we will get the next virus, and then what? We'll say, we told you so, we wrote about it. What are you going to say? It's not important then. It's nothing. It's like with children. What? You're going to start to feel that you're right? It won't help. We have to, in every way, that the Creator has to finish the work for us. There are many more things to talk about. Other questions? That's it. We can conclude, and thank you. But thank you very much to all